Is it time to panic? Warner Brothers disc rot. I'm going to say no. This is something that has been a known issue for several years. The lists have been out there, the forums, people have talked about it. There's an ongoing list of problems, but I have some of the discs that come up as being a problem, and this has been a blanket statement for a while. And then lately, it just got some traction. I've seen some really big YouTubers talking about this problem, and it's not as big as people are making it out to sound. It's definitely not a time to panic and all the discs are bad and your entire collection's going away. I read an article that said millions of DVDs are rotting away, and they went on to list several hundred DVDs that were known issues. I have two of them that were on the list, and they work perfectly fine. Instead of doing like screenshots and records and edits and whatever, I'll show you. I've got them right here on my portable DVD player. So this one here, The Man Who Came to Dinner, that right there is in the DVD player right now. Hit the menu button. So just to show you, it is inside. That's the disc, The Man Who Came to Dinner. Press play. It's going to take a second to load up. We're going to get to the menu. All the menu features function. The DVD works perfectly fine. And then the other one that was on that list was Gold Member, the Infinity Film collection. So this is a movie that I have. I've been trying to collect all these Infinity Films, and because I think there was only 13. But this comes up on the list of known issues of disc rot. And it affects DVDs that were manufactured between, I think, 2006 and 2008. But it goes back to how these things are stored, and as this is considered old technology, a lot of times people put them in a box, throw them in an attic, throw them in a basement, put them in the garage. They get them out of sight and they get them out of the normal temperature of their house, and then eventually they'll end up at Goodwill, and then these things get sold, which is what I think happened to this one, which I found was a known issue. This is a Fox title that is a known issue. I found it, and then I had two of these that had an issue, and then as I made the video, several people said their copies stopped working. But then there's another version of this that came in a 2-pack that works perfectly fine. So it's not just Warner Brothers titles. It is mostly how you store it. The thing is, the glue can come undone, and it seems like those ones manufactured for Warner Brothers during that time period have an issue because the manufacturing process. But I have some Warner Brothers titles in my collection. They've never had an issue. I had more that I recently upgraded to Blu-ray that were also on that list, and they never gave me an issue. But this one here, The Man Who Came to Dinner, we have the full menus on this one here. I'm not sure if you can see everything there. So we have the full menus, and as we go in, we're going to hit play. It's going to play for you, and there you go. Works no problem. We have a Warner Brothers title. I've watched this, every single Christmas. I recently just picked up this DVD myself, but I've had the VHS for years, and so this has been a staple for Christmas since I found it. I absolutely love this film, so as soon as I saw it on the list, I had to double check, even though I know I watched this just a few months ago in December. But yeah, it works perfectly fine. Let's see. Let's skip this around a little bit. There we go. Plays just fine. And then I can turn up the sound a little bit.
The Isle of the Airway rests until further notice at the home of surprised Mr. and Mrs. Stanley of Mazzena, Ohio. Possibility Christmas may be postponed this year. Oh, how is it?
So that's that one. And then the other one that I have in my collection that was considered this known issue was this Infinity Film Austin Powers Gold Member disc. And that's another one. I know 100% that this works perfectly fine because I have this portable DVD player set up. I take it with me when I go on vacation, but I have it set up at my desk where I'm constantly watching a DVD while I'm working, and so all these discs get watched regularly. So as we put the Austin Powers in there, close it down, press play. And it's going to take a second as well. But yeah, this is a film that I picked this one up used at the thrift store. So it's one of the things that, potentially if it was stored improperly and made to the thrift store, Of course, it's going to have issues. The glue's going to rot off. If you take anything and you store it improperly, it's going to start to fall apart. Books, everything else. I don't believe that this is an issue, and I don't believe your entire collection is rotting away like some people are claiming, like that article alludes to, that millions of discs are just a problem now, and they're just never going to work again. And it was the same thing as why I never got into Laserdisc. Being a movie enthusiast and trying to collect different formats and have different movies, for years I was told that Laserdisc is a problem. So this one here, all the menu features work again. But let's go right into, let's just go into select a scene. And you can pick any of these scenes here. Movie plays just fine. Again, we have no problem with sound. So these discs are both on that list, and both of them work 100% on my end. Now, granted, they were manufactured in that time period. They could have been stored improperly, and there could be tons of these people that have these same discs that just don't work. But the blanket statement of all the discs don't work, all your discs are rotting away, is absolute nonsense. So we'll stop that, close that down, and then these movies here. These are the only ones that I have left that weren't the ones I showed you for DVDs that are Warner Brothers titles. These didn't make the list, but every single one of them have worked. And very recently, like I said, I sit here and watch the movie. So Glimmer Man works no problem. We have Poseidon Adventure, Private Benjamin. Now, this is the reason why, I do promote these movies getting restored and put on different formats, because you really do never know. But this one here, as far as I understand, it's getting a 4K this year. So I'll be upgrading 100%, but this DVD still works. And then in that report, it was saying it was different cases. And so like these ones here that I have in the red cases, they came in the cheaper Echo cases. So I've always just upgraded the case. One, I think the red looks really sharp, but I've upgraded the case. But this one here, it's in an older case. It's pretty solid. I haven't hit an issue. But Poseidon Adventure works no problem. This one here, again, My Fellow Americans, this one here works no problem. But I upgraded the case just to be safe, because some of those Echo cases, they have the cutout. The conversation is how these could break is, too much heat, too much cold, moisture, all that stuff. And if you have a thin case with holes in it, and the only thing between the disc and the outside is a thin piece of paper, I like to upgrade those cases. But this one here, Lottery Ticket, worked no problem. These are all Warner titles. So they're all Warner titles. But we have It Takes Two. This is a movie that's never seen a Blu-ray, so this is the best you got. And I don't think this was on the list, but it's a movie that my kids have been watching for years. No Blu-ray. And so this one here, it really is something that it could be hit or miss. I don't think your entire collection is going to go analyze this, analyze that. A Time to Kill, Chisholm, Chill Factor. These are all snapper cases, and some of those lists were reporting that some snapper cases were having issues. So Chill Factor works no problem. Chisholm works no problem. A Time to Kill works no problem. Analyze that works no problem. And Analyze This also works no problem. So I have those. But then I've been talking about this issue for quite a while. Oh, also THX 1138 works no problem. I don't think we ever got a better version of this. And so this is something that it definitely comes up with fans and enthusiasts, but it's not a super popular film. Whole 10 Yards. This one never got a Blu-ray, so again, the first one did, the sequel didn't, and this is sitting in a snapper case, which some of those on that list are saying that it is the snapper case is the problem, but I say that it's not. I have tons of them, and they work perfectly fine. But then it goes back to the whole Laserdisc conversation and these HD DVDs. Blanket statement, all the Warner Brothers HD DVDs don't work. Well, these ones do. I've been talking about this one for years now. Dukes of Hazzard, the HD DVD. This one's notorious because it never got a Blu-ray, but it did get this HD DVD, and most of them don't seem to work. Tons of forums, talking about this one, but this one works perfectly fine, and it gets a yearly watch at least. My Blazing Saddles HD DVD, I just watched it the other day. It works perfect. Blood Diamond is another one. This is a Warner title, works perfectly fine, no issues. And this one here. Good Night, Good Luck, another Warner title, HD DVD. These all work in my player, no problem, and I've had no issues with them from the beginning. Now, there have been, a few Warner titles that I found at the thrift store that completely didn't work, but that's not all of them, and that's the blanket statement that's being carried over for these HD DVD, or for the DVDs, saying that millions of DVDs are just rotting away, to every single person saying, don't get into HD DVD because they're rotting away and they're going to rot your collection. These ones work, no problem. And again, it goes back to the way they're stored. Now, I have about 40 laser discs, and I just recently got into it, so I haven't been able to watch all of them, but every single one that I have watched so far, I've had no issues with, except for one, because it was scratched up in one spot, and then that spot, when I played it, it just kind of skipped around. But I have one that's actually looks like it went through hell, and it works perfectly fine. I got to watch the entire movie, no issues, no skips, no problems. But these ones here, like Laserdisc, I've been buying these for literally the past week and a half, and I've had a really good time with them, but for years I've been told to stay away from Laserdisc because of what they call laser rot, which is the same as disc rot, but just that's what they were calling it back then. And so that's been a blanket statement. And as I've talked about this, and as I was trying to get into these, I've been warned. There's been comments of, don't get into Laserdisc, laser rot. For years, it was said that all of these were going bad. I've got about 40 in my collection. I have not watched them all, but I've probably watched a good 15 to 18 movies, zero problems on any of them except for that one that was scratched. And again, it's the problem of, one person had an issue and maybe a few people had an issue, and that's just been the blanket statement from the beginning that laser rot, these are just rotting away and they're never going to work and they're a waste. Well, they definitely don't have an issue, and I've had a really good time enjoying this format, and I'm glad that I finally did it, but I missed out on years of passing up on opportunities to get laser discs and stuff because of that fear of it's rotting away. So do I think this is an issue? A little bit, yes. I think you should be wary of it, but we've known about this for over 2 years, and just now it's getting traction, and all these people are making videos talking about the disc rot and warning you about your Warner Brothers titles. Be aware of it. Do I think your collection's going to rot away? Absolutely not. Especially if you keep it at the normal temperature, like everyone's house should be, between I don't know what normal is. My normal is between 68 and 72. It never changes from there. And I've been buying movies for like almost 28 years now. And, I've had no real issues of things that I bought, from the store physically new. I have had some few issues of buying used stuff through the thrift store. But we're talking about $1 or $2 and taking a chance on something maybe you wouldn't. But I found all these at the thrift store, and they worked just fine, where the internet is claiming every single Warner title is bad. Now, granted, I'm sure there's a lot of them that are bad. I've come across a couple. But the good thing is Warner Brothers has taken accountability for this. So I'm going to post a link to this article with a list of the known issue discs, and they are offering a disc replacement on titles that they still have in their collection and things that they have the licensing rights to. If they don't have it anymore, they don't have the license rights to it, they said that they'll replace it with something comparable. So these discs do have a disc replacement, which is a positive thing. You're just going to have to contact Warner Brothers for that. I'll link all that down below. So I personally don't think that while disc rot is something to snub your nose at, there's a solution to it. And if you're afraid of it, you can always build yourself a Plex server, rip your discs to your computer or your hard drive, and have access to them digitally. So if they do go, you have them and you can watch them. So it is one of those things that, there are steps you can take to have your core favorites. I already made a video on that. If you are worried about disc rot, check out this video right here where I go over my entire experience about building a Plex server, where I ripped discs to my hard drive and my entire experience there. With that, remember to watch a movie today, and I'll catch you guys next time.